Hello everyone, it's Logan. Welcome back. So today I thought I'd do a little bit of a different video and I thought I would do a bit of a book haul. So I've just, in the past, I would say year and a half, have just been getting so much into reading, and I've just been buying more and more books, and my to be read list is just constantly growing. But recently I've just been out and I've been buying a few new books. I've also been given a couple new books as well. I know I have one currently on the way, though I don't actually know what it is because it's like a book date thing that my friend got me. I thought I'd show you guys some of the books that I've gotten, so let's get straight into it. Kind of a big range, but I am looking forward to reading them. So firstly, we have The Crimson Moth. So I know that it's also, so it's called The Crimson Moth, but it's also called Heartless Hunter. So this is the first book in the, I believe it's a duology, and it has two different names and two different covers. So it's the Crimson Moth series, but it just kind of has the different names, but it is the same book. I believe it's a duology, and I believe the second book is out. Yeah, I'm super excited to read this. I've seen it quite a bit. So I know that it's an enemies to lover book following a witch and a witch hunter. So you have Rue, who kind of during the day she's the socialite, and at night she tries to rescue endangered witches as the Crimson Moth. And then you have, I think it's Gideon is how I pronounce it in my head, Gideon Sharp, who is a notorious witch hunter, who's the one who is hunting her, but to try to get information to help save the witches, Rune courts him. And so yeah, I don't know, I kind of have heard a bit about it, and I just thought, you know what, this looks like my type of read, little romantasy, which I like. So yeah, that's my first book. So my second book, I've actually already read, which is The Ballad of Never After. So this is the second book in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So I have the physical book for the first book and the third book. I got gifted those, but I didn't have the physical book in the second one. I absolutely love these covers. I realized I didn't show you guys a close-up of Crimson Moth. This is a close-up of it. But yeah, I love the covers of these books. So there's a few different versions. So this is one of the cover variations of it, and I'm honestly obsessed. The other two are a bit more blue, this one's a bit more purple, so those are up in my shelf. But yeah, I do want to do a reread of it because this is actually one of my all-time favorite books, this specific one. The other books in the series are great, but this one, honestly, I fell in love with it. I think I read it in like a couple of days. It was just, I love the world of this fantasy series, so I would definitely recommend this trilogy for anyone kind of interested in it. It's a bit of a slow burn, but it's just such a beautiful world and story. So yeah, I have already read this one, but I didn't get it. The next one I was actually given, so the next two I was given. So firstly, it's You and Me on Vacation. So I've seen a bunch of these books and a bunch of people reading these books. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know what it's about. And my sister literally said, I have this book, do you want it? And I thought, you know what, why not? Let's see what's it about. From what I understand about this is that there's these two friends who have been going on summer trips together, and they realize they might not just be friends. I've also seen a lot of stuff from this author, Emily Henry, kind of a few popular books which are currently out. Like, I know another one is Happy Place. I haven't read it, and I haven't actually read any of her books or any of these style books, but I am kind of curious as to what it would be. I feel like it would be a pretty easy read, which right now I'm currently reading Throne of Glass, and I have quite a few kind of heavier books, which I do have some heavier books that I'll show you guys in a bit. But I think something like this is the perfect balance kind of to those heavier books. I'm getting more and more into the classics and stuff, so I think I need these to maybe turn my brain off a little bit. That is another one. My next one is kind of a popular romantasy one, which is Powerless. So I've heard things about it. It is on my list, but I have heard great things about this. Yeah, so I believe that this is one with trials, which I've read a few books that have trials, which can be quite interesting. So it's kind of in a world where you have the elites who have these powers, and then anyone who's ordinary and doesn't have the powers are kind of banished. And so she ends up saving the prince or ends up going through these trials. And so yeah, I feel like this is also probably not necessarily chill, but it's gonna be a bit more of a chill read compared to some of my other stuff. It is pretty long, actually. How many pages is it? So I think it's just over 500 pages, which it doesn't look like it would be, but I guess the kind of paper is a little on the thinner side. But yeah, really looking forward to this because it has been on my list for a while to kind of read a bunch of these kind of more popular comment. I feel like it's also a little bit like a TikTok-y one as well. So yeah, that is Powerless. My next ones are kind of more classics, a bit heavier, but yeah. So next one is Crime and Punishment by, I'll be completely honest, I don't know how to pronounce it. So it's Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment. So my understanding of this book so far is it is about a man who thinks he's smart enough to rationalize murder and how it ultimately kind of draws him, makes him go kind of insane with guilt. Yeah, so kind of it follows the main character who goes into slums and commits a murder without any remorse or guilt. And then throughout the book, it's a bit of a game of cat and mouse with the police investigators. And over time, yeah, how that guilt and consciousness kind of builds and grows. So I've heard absolutely phenomenal things about it. I think it is definitely a bit of a heavy, very heavy book, but I have been saying I'm wanting to get into reading more classical literatures. It's something where right now I'm only reading one book, but I'm probably gonna start reading another book alongside that soon because I like to kind of have a balance between things because I don't think I could just read something like this. I would need to pair it with something else for the times when I don't really want to think too much, whilst this I'm probably gonna have a pencil out, maybe making some notes and stuff, but I'm really looking forward to it and just trying something different out. Yeah, so I have quite a few kind of those classical literatures. One that I've been wanting to get into, but I don't know if I'll be able to properly read it this year, is Anna Karenina. So I have 2 copies of the book. So I have one that's kind of more for looking, it's very pretty, and then I have another one which I'll actually physically read. Back to the next book, which is Emma by Jane Austen. So I don't actually know the story behind Emma. I've read Pride and Prejudice, read it in school, seen the books plenty of times. Yeah, so basically I was in a bookstore the other day and we were kind of doing, I got this alongside Crime and Punishment. It was in a bookstore in South Kensington in London, and this one, it was on sale. It was £5, which is pretty good. There was quite a few on sale, and it's something where I definitely seen it before, had kind of an interest in it, but I had never really picked it up. And I find that I feel like if I actually just kind of buy the book, I am more likely to read it. If I just kind of go, oh yeah, I'll read it at some point, whilst when it's physically there, I have it in my hand, then I am a lot more likely to read it. But I just thought, I don't know, it was something about this cover that I really drew me to this specific book. I think kind of random. I love blue with orange as a color pairing, and that's also another thing is that I find, because sometimes I'll see a version of a book and I'll think, okay, that looks all right, but then it is such a big thing of like the illustrations on the front and how they make such a difference. I don't know, I just thought that it was quite nice, quite quaint. And it's funny because I've been reading so much on my Kindle just because I have been mainly focusing on Throne of Glass, and it's in a bundle on my Kindle. So all of the books are on there, though I do want the physical books. So I haven't actually read a physical book until I want to say February. It's now beginning of May, and I'm really looking forward to just being able to flip open the book. I recently got a new bag just from a charity shop, which is actually big enough to kind of fit books in it, which is so exciting. I used to only either have my crossbody bag or my tote bag, which was all right, but I can actually fit these books in my bag now, and it's kind of a nice looking bag. So I'm so excited to start bringing these out. And yeah, but this is just the next book. I have one more last book here, and then I'll show you guys also. I bought like a series as well, so I'll show you guys that in a second. So my last book is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. So it was one that my sister actually recommended because a lot of my classic literatures are very heavy, dark, something like Crime and Punishment. And so she had studied it in school and recommended it to me, just kind of as a little bit of a lighter one. So I did start reading it. I'm only on page, like, what is it? I'm only on like the 3rd page of just the introduction, which goes into how people view reading the book, which I think is kind of interesting. I can literally already have a bookmark in there, and I think I'm gonna bring this out with me tonight to read. But yeah, so there's a whole section. So this much of the book is like a lot of just the introduction. It goes into some poems, kind of different things, and then the actual first book doesn't start until here, which is kind of interesting. There's also like a poem and stuff, and there's drawings inside, which I think is so much fun. Yeah, or it's something where this will be one of the pages, where it is just kind of that. Quite just fun. And I mean, I do know that generally the books are a little bit darker than the actual stories, so should be kind of interesting how it turns out, but I am really looking forward to it. And I thought the cover was so nice. You have Alice with the Queen of Hearts there, and yeah, let me get my other ones. So I have actually talked about this one before in another video, which is the Lord of the Rings one. So the thing is, I've actually completely run out of space on my bookshelf, so this is currently just sitting in front of my classics. But I did get these. So it's The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. I'm very much looking forward to reading them. And it's like quite good sizing, I think, kind of for the words and stuff. I do know that chatting with like some people there, since it is very fantasy, it can be almost heavy, but in a great way. Is kind of what I've heard. I don't really know. But yeah, I am really looking forward to reading those. I'm hoping to read these this year. Honestly, I just want to read all of these this year, but I know that that's not going to happen just because of timing wise. But I do spend a lot of my time commuting on buses and trains, and so going to take advantage of that time. But yeah, I have shown this in another video, but I just thought, since I was doing a book haul, that this is like one of also my first, it's the first book series that I bought where it's come in kind of the box like this. Because as I said, I am kind of gradually growing my collection. So I do need to figure out how I'm going to sort all of that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching. If you have any book recommendations or anything, be sure to pop them in the comments down below. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.